guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, where today we are going to break down the AFC East. We're going to do another one of our NFL specials, and we're going to look at the Bills' regular opponents every season, those ones that we get twice a year, and the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Jets, and just kind of see what we think of what's going to happen with them this season, and go up and down their schedule, talk about where we think they're going to be when they meet the Bills, where they going to be when they, get to their sort of their harder games as well. And do we see any of them making the postseason or even making a run at the top of the division or maybe even the top of the conference? So with that, I'm Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by my main man, Mr. T. Reese, and Mr. Pink Hair, Sean O'Neill himself. And guys, let's break it down. So let's start with in my opinion, probably the biggest contenders to the Bills, I would think, for that division crown this year in the New England Patriots. I think with their brand new coach, and I think arguably probably the second best quarterback in the division, definitely one of the better defenses in the division, and a much improved offensive line, much improved weapons in the offense. I think overall, I think the Patriots are going to be a much better team this year. So looking at their schedule, anything jump out at you guys kind of immediately, going up and down their schedule there?
In their first 5 weeks before they face the Bills at week 5, they have 3 winnable games out of 4. I mean, they're playing the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Panthers out of 3 out of those 4 weeks. And then their other one is the Steelers. And I know we can't bad talk the Steelers with main man T. Reese here, so I'm not even going to say anything about that one. But those are three. I mean, Raiders, Dolphins, Panthers are 3 winnable games, so they could theoretically be 3-1 coming into Buffalo.
Yeah, I like the 3-1. I get definitely their first 4 games they played Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, Panthers. So I would say going to Miami early in the season, that could potentially be a loss. And I do want to push back. I don't think he's the second best quarterback in the division. Still have to give it to Tua as the second best quarterback. May hasn't really shown much yet to be considered the second best. So I would probably put him at third by default because the Jets don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, but Tua thinks he's still playing for Alabama. So
yeah, regardless of the fact, he's still at this point in both of their careers, him and May, you got to give it to Tua as the second best quarterback. He's already proven it.
See, I have a tough time with that though, because Tua's never been that good of a quarterback. The guy can barely throw a deep ball. I mean, he's got one of the best deep threats in the game who constantly has to run back to catch the ball.
Oh no, I get that, but still, he's a veteran quarterback, and he puts up numbers. He puts up. You can't say that he doesn't. He puts up numbers. It doesn't matter how we feel, because we're Bills fans. We're jaded about them. We Tua's trash, but to the rest of the league, he's not that. He's not that bad. He's just not good enough to win a championship.
I mean, I think you're right, but if I were starting a franchise today and I had to choose between the two of them, I would probably take Drake Maye.
Well, see, the problem is that when Tua was drafted, he was coveted. So he would have been coveted before Maye. Guaranteed. And
it's hard to know because Maye's only 1 year into his career, and knowing what Tua became, it's obviously kind of allowing me to be a little bit more biased. But I think to Sean's point with Tua, I don't think the arm talent is there, but I mean, he's very accurate, right? But I just getting the ball down the field. And I think if you didn't have Tyreek Hill on that team, I don't think Tua is anything special at all. I think the wide receiver helps the quarterback way more than the quarterback helps the wide receiver in that instance.
Tua played a season in Alabama? Was it more than that?
No, he was there he was there his entire career. He left there did he leave his senior year?
He started.
No. You're forgetting that him and Jalen Hurts were in Alabama, and they were trading back and forth when they were both there.
I thought it was AJ McCarron. No,
it was Hurt. It was Hurts.
Hold on, I have a point.
Why do I think
and then homeboy had enough, bounced, and it became Tua's team. Then he got his hip injury, and that was it.
Yeah. I just worry about Tua with all of the concussions and everything else like that. But
No. Listen. I mean, aside from whatever fate that may come to him on the field, I mean, you can't take away the fact that if you were to draft them both, let's say you drafted May his year, and let's say Tua was in that same year, Tua would have been more coveted. He would have been drafted before May.
That's fair. That's fair. One thing looking at their schedule initially, I see 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, potentially 14 1:00 games on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, they haven't really warranted anyone to want to watch them in any other time.
Yeah, their only night game is against us and against the Jets and the Giants.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
So I mean, they got 2 of the 3 on primetime games are probably winnable for them. I mean, the Bills are probably beating them Sunday night,
and the Giants Monday Night Football is, but that should be a cakewalk.
But the thing is with the Jets defense plays fairly well against the Miami offense. The only problem is the Jets don't have any offense. So that's generally why that's a 50-50. It's a flip. Depends on what kind of a game you have out of that. The Giants, they should beat Monday Night Football.
Exactly.
Beat them. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to beat them.
I mean, looking at their schedule overall, I mean, they have what look like a bunch, which, I mean, outside of the fact that they don't have a defense in Miami that we know of, they have what should be a bunch of winnable games. You have the Jets, you have the Giants, you have the
Titans, Browns, the Falcons, the Raiders,
the Saints. Like there's a lot of winnable games in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's the Dolphins show up, they fall apart late in the season. That's generally where their issue is. No matter who they're playing, they end up falling apart. I mean, the cold weather thing's an issue. Think about it. That second half of the season, they go cold weather. Jets, Bengals, Giants.
We got off topic, though. We're talking New England here, not Miami.
Huh? Oh, we're talking about that's right. We're talking about Miami.
Well, we're talking New England, not Miami.
Yeah, so looking at those first 4 games, I think best case 3-1, but likely case 2-2. I think for the Patriots there.
Yeah.
They probably drop the Miami game and they probably drop the Steelers game. And then they probably beat the Raiders, definitely beat the Panthers. 2-2 coming to Buffalo. We definitely beat them. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
they have
7.
4 winnable games right after us.
They got 8 games in between their next game with us. So say they're 2-3 after we beat them on October 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4 wins.
And they're playing a lot of bottom of the division. They're at the bottom of the division schedule. So I mean, they're not playing anybody this year. So it's a good chance they could be a threat just for the simple fact they're going to win games. I don't think they're going to be a threat to beat us. I think they'll be more of a threat of what their record is going to be by the time the season ends.
And I mean,
best case scenario, I put them at like 10. I think 10 is the maximum wins for this team. Just given like they've got us twice, Baltimore, they'll split with Miami, they'll lose to Tampa, they'll lose to Cincinnati. They'll probably drop one more game somewhere in there as well.
I can agree about 10.
Yeah, that's assuming they handle business against all of the bad teams. Atlanta could beat them. The Bengals will beat them. The Bucs will beat them. We'll beat them. The Ravens will beat them.
Yeah, and then don't forget now that Tennessee games is a comeback game for Vrabel. I mean, both teams are going to have some sort of emotions and feelings in that game. So if in my opinion, that game can go either way. You know how those games go.
Yeah,
it's a division, or not a division, but the division games too are tough as well. I mean, I think there's always a chance they could split with the Jets, even though the Jets suck. Like you never know when you have bad teams playing division games.
It's going to be so interesting. I mean, we'll talk about the Jets in a little bit, but it's going to be so interesting to look at the Jets, I think, this year because, I mean, Old Man Rodgers definitely helped them get a few wins this year. I have no idea what the Jets are going to do this year. I think the Jets are going to win like 3 games.
Well, I mean, we're going to get to the Jets. We're still in the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking 10-7 for them is that what you're guessing?
Best case scenario. Like best case scenario, 10 and I can't see them getting more than 10 wins. I'm thinking they're going to be between 8 and 10 wins.
So, I mean, if you're going to go with that, they're going to probably be in a fight with probably teams like the Steelers to try and get in that last seed to get into the playoffs. Bengals possibly they could be in there fighting with them too, trying to get into the playoffs. So here's the thing. The Bengals game is going to be probably one of the more important games because, I mean, the Bills, I mean, we're going to probably win the division again, but the important game for them is going to be that Cincinnati game. If they beat Cincinnati, they'll hold the tiebreaker over them, but they're going to the Bengals.
Yeah, they're not going to Cincinnati and beating them.
That Steelers game is going to be big then too, even though it's early in the season. If just looking at the schedule.
Yeah. Yep.
All of their, like, a lot of their hard games are on the road too. Us, Tampa, Cincinnati, Baltimore. I mean, Miami. That's 5 losses, like right there, you know. So,
well, all the Patriots got to do is beat the teams they more than likely, based off of what we're thinking of them progressing, beat the teams they should beat.
Yeah.
And if they don't, if they slip up on a couple of them, that's it. They're not making the playoffs. So they have to win those games.
Yeah. I mean, I think to your point, like they got to get to 10 and then they got to hope that some of these other teams, like, I don't know, slip up a little bit because, I mean, right now, if you put the 4 division winners, you know, you got Bills, probably the Ravens, probably the Texans, probably the Chiefs. Then you've got the Chargers, the Bengals, the Broncos, and the Patriots.
I wouldn't put them in there yet.
You know what I mean? Like, are the Patriots in with those 3 other teams? Maybe even the Steelers?
Well, see, based off strength of schedule, I would say yes, just off of that alone. But I mean, that could change very well during the season if they come out and Drake Maye has a quote sophomore slump.
I mean, do we, just like thinking about all those wild card teams, do we think the Patriots are better than the Chargers? I don't. Do we think that they're better than the Broncos? I don't. Do we think that they're better than the Bengals? I don't.
Well, see, the Bengals are a toss-up because you just don't know what kind of defense they're going to have. That's why I said that's going to be probably the most important game for them because we know what the Steelers bring. We know what the Steelers' defense is. I mean, they're solid defense. The Bengals have yet to prove they got a defense, and the Patriots won it. That turns into. I think that game is going to be mostly a ground game. I don't think they're going to allow Burrow to throw a whole lot. It's going to be a ground game. It's going to be whoever can run the ball best.
I mean, they beat the Bengals last year, didn't they? At the beginning of the season.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like one of those weird fluky games or something like that. It was like 17-16 or something like that. Yep. That they did beat the Bengals
when Cincinnati was in their free fall in their early season last year.
Yeah. I gotta think that Cincinnati's defense is not going to be as bad as it was last year. I think it's impossible.
Historically bad.
Yeah, I gotta think it's impossible for that defense to be as bad as it was last year. So if that defense can like just be even, I don't know, a little bit better than it was last year, I see that. I see Cincinnati very easily making the postseason. I mean, they almost did with a historically bad defense.
Yeah. That game was 16. It was 16-10 that game.
Yeah, low scoring.
And don't forget now that was early in the season. You know how the Bengals roll early in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was when they were in their free fall.
Yeah. So I mean, this time around they're playing them
week 12. Week 12.
I mean, for all we know, Bengals are probably up and running on that offense right about then. The thing is with the Bengals is you can't forget they got a whole new defense that's getting put in, and they have to bring a whole bunch of new players in. It's going to take time to acclimate. Defenses don't turn around the first year that quickly. And
that's why getting them week 12 is I think it's good for Cincinnati.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's if their defense is somewhat, sustainable.
No, I'm just saying I don't think their defense could be worse. And I guess my point is that looking at just saying like taking Cincinnati, even throwing Pittsburgh out, taking Cincinnati, the Chargers or the Chiefs, depending on which one of those teams wins that division, and the Broncos. I don't think the Patriots are better than any of those teams.
Oh, I agree with that.
So,
Well,
like, given
I agree with that on paper.
I don't see how they have a path to the postseason unless they take care of their business and maybe win one of those games that they should lose. Like maybe win that Tampa game or win that Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say, like, because we're in the off season, we can only go based off of who has the better quarterback. That's kind of what you're going to have to go with right about now.
Sure.
Obviously, Burrow is much better quarterback than May is right now.
True.
But
for sure.
like I said, the issue is going to be whether or not if the Patriots can keep a balanced offense, which I think is what they're going to try and run with. That's Vrabel's style. Balanced offense, you ground and pound. It's the same style that Cincinnati should be running, but instead they've chosen to go with air attack again. So the question is going to be, can their defense stop the Patriots? That's where your problem is going to be. They got to be able to stop the Patriots from running the ball, and they could not stop anybody from running the ball last year. And that doesn't just change overnight. I don't think they brought up enough names in even to help out with helping out that defensive line. But if you're just going to go off of just off season and who the better quarterback is, then you would lean towards Cincinnati, obviously. But with Cincinnati, the question mark is going to be the defense. If they can't stop the run game against the Patriots, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they have going for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they don't have much of a receiver core. I mean, what Stephon Diggs is there. Okay, let's be honest. I don't think he's going to turn May into Josh Allen because he's there.
Especially coming off his injury.
No, but I mean, I do think that
how much of an upgrade that is to New England's receiving core.
Yeah, but they don't really have anybody outside of him.
No, it is an upgrade, but I also think that like he can move. He can move though too. Like I mean, he can move on his feet a little bit. So I think that helps them a little bit.
I want to see I can't remember who the Patriots picked up any receivers. I don't think they picked up anybody outside of Stephon Diggs that's considered a threat. Let's see.
Oh, they took the guy from us.
Matt Collins.
Okay, I'm not worried about Matt Collins. Okay, let's be honest. Not worried about Matt Collins.
No, I mean I think that their next outside of Diggs, their next biggest threat is Hunter Henry, their tight end, and then what's that running back's name? They got two guys.
Ramondre Stevenson and
Henderson.
Yeah, I think it's Henderson or something like that.
Yeah, Trayvon Henderson. Yeah, so I mean they're all right on offense. They're not great. I mean Kendrick Bourne is pretty good. Austin Hooper is pretty good. So, but yeah, I think Hunter Henry is going to be huge for them this year. Like if you're taking anybody on that team on your fantasy lineup, you're taking Hunter Henry. He's going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, and I'm looking at their wide receiver. They didn't bring anybody in other than Stephon Diggs. I mean, it's the same wide receiver core they had last year.
Yeah, so, Diggs and Hollins are the only ones that look.
Yeah, and Hollins, okay. Josh made Hollins. Let's be honest. Hollins has never played like that anywhere he's gone. So I wouldn't expect him to be their number one receiver. And I don't expect Stephon Diggs. I think he's going to be in the slot more than anything. He's not even going to play on the boundary.
Well, they've got Demario Douglas slated ahead of him, and I don't even know who Demario Douglas is. He was like a rookie last year, wasn't he? He was drafted
something like that.
He's drafted in the 6th round in 2023, so he's a nobody.
Yep.
Well, I mean, do you have him ranked ahead of Diggs just because Diggs is coming off that catastrophic injury?
That's another thing too. You have no idea what you're going to get out of Diggs with coming off that injury.
And I don't even know is he going to be ready for the season is the next question too.
Yeah. So
we're going to stick with 10 and 7 for them.
I'm hovering around 10. I think more than 8, but 10 or less.
Because I mean, New England has the second easiest schedule in the NFL right now.
Yeah, to Sean's point earlier, they've got a lot of winnable games, a lot of cupcake teams that they could very easily beat, especially at home. Like looking at their home schedule, except for us, they could probably win all of their home games.
Well, right now Vegas has them at 7.5 wins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Except for the Bills, they could probably win all of their home games. They're probably going to be a favorite in all of their home games, except against us.
Mm.
They'll be a favorite against the Raiders. It'll be close, probably a point against the Steelers. They'll be a favorite against Carolina, against Cleveland, against Atlanta, against the Jets, the Giants, and the Dolphins. They'll be favorites against all those teams at home.
So, like David will be playing week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what we get out of him. I mean, the guy hasn't played in since the halfway
Way
point
through
of
the season,
the
right?
season last year. So he's missed
Yeah.
almost half a season last year. Hasn't really played since then. So I mean, you're probably going to see some rust out of him. I just don't think May. I just don't think he's going to be. He's not the end all be all for their offense. I was shocked. I think they brought him in primarily because as a veteran presence for their young wide receivers. I don't think he's going to be the go-to guy there.
It's all that locker room needs, right?
Yep.
Oh, he's such a locker room standout. I mean,
Right. All right, let's switch gears and go to the Miami Dolphins next. So we know Miami plays the Bills week 3, and then they play them again week 10. Miami's schedule doesn't look. I don't know. Miami's schedule actually looks harder than the Patriots, but um, 1, 2. I mean, they could be 2-1 coming. They could be 2-0 coming to Buffalo week 3.
Yeah, they're ninth in week in so far as rankings, as far as schedule. They're number 9 as far as the weakest schedules, which they're slated by Vegas to have 8.5 wins this year.
6, 7.
Which, I mean, that means Vegas really has no hope that Dolphins are going to be sniffing the playoffs.
no,
Yeah,
doesn't sound like it.
I kind of like looking at their schedule going up and down it. I kind of think again, like in and around 10 wins for them would be their ceiling. Like, I mean, you could beat the Colts, you could split with the Patriots, you could beat the Jets, the Panthers, the Browns, the Falcons, Saints, Jets. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you probably lose to the Bucks, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Bills, the Commanders, the Ravens, the Chargers.
The thing
I
is,
know
though,
eight sounds
those
about right.
Europe trips usually trip up a lot of teams. So you're going to have some teams that are good that lose those games in Europe, and that's another reason why people don't want those games there. So that Commanders game could be a kind of like a trick game for them. They could possibly lose that one. The Commanders could possibly lose that game to them. So you just
Yeah.
never know with those games. But you're right, though. I mean, they get what week 15, 16, they get a Monday night to a Sunday night, but it's the Steelers
Yeah,
and
they have a lot more primetime games than I would have thought.
I agree, but it's not because of Tyreek Hill.
Um, but looking at their schedule, I would say the highest maybe is 9 wins. I mean, depending on what happens with that Commanders game. Otherwise, I would say 8.
Well,
Yeah.
that Commanders game, that's in
Madrid.
Great.
Madrid. Yeah.
So you know how those games go. I mean,
Yeah.
we see some stinkers in Europe.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah, look at our games in England.
Yep. And like I said, the end of the season is where they're going to have a problem from week 15 on.
Yeah, they could drop all those
They lose
games.
all 4.
Yeah, they could. I mean, the Patriots might need that last game. Miami could go on an 0-4 run at the end of the season there, and it would just end them.
Yeah, and they only have one, out of those games. I mean, so if you throw the Jets in there, who knows what the Jets are going to. So if you went from week 14 to 18, they're cold weather out of 4 of those 5 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know Miami doesn't play well in the cold. As much as they wish it would be colder out.
Oh, I take it back. Bengals and Bucks played them at home. But
Buccaneers.
Still, I mean,
Really matter.
they're not gonna beat the Bengals or the Bucks. I just don't think they're gonna do it.
No, I don't think so either.
I have a
I think
hard
that
time seeing them beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football.
I think
Yeah.
that game against Tampa is a that's a juicy game. That looks like it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to see the Steelers play them on Monday night. That's gonna be a good game too.
Does it seem like Miami plays the Chargers every year?
They do play. I mean, it's
No,
because
I don't recall them playing them in the last few seasons.
it's all that they usually do because the Chargers are usually the second place team. So Miami usually gets the second place schedule the last few years. That's why we play the Chiefs every year because we play the first place schedule every year.
No, I get that, but I think the Chargers haven't been second place every year for the last few seasons.
Haven't they?
No.
Yeah, so I think overall for Miami, I just It really depends on Tua, but I mean, I think again, I can't see them getting more than 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean, well, 10 is like extremely high for them in my opinion. I
Yeah, oh
think,
yeah, that's their ceiling.
yeah. So
That's their ceiling.
you're right between a 9 and 8. That's why Vegas has them at 8.5.
Yeah, like I said, they hit 9 if they manage to pull out that Spain win, but that one's iffy at best.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those years where we really don't have to worry about Miami that much.
I think of all of the three divisional teams, though, I am the most confident in the Bills beating the Dolphins. Just because I don't think we don't know what we're going to get out of the Patriots yet, and we have no idea what we're going to get out of the Jets yet. I mean, the Jets will probably be bad, but I mean, the Bills, more specifically, Josh Allen has owned the Miami Dolphins. I
Yeah,
mean, 11 of 12 or something ridiculous like that.
You
and the
know,
amount of points he's put up.
I mean, historically, uh, the Chargers versus the Dolphins, the Chargers are 20-17. They've only beat the Chargers have beat them. Let's say that if we take the last 5 seasons, they've only beat them twice. They didn't play them in 18. So in 2017 they lost. What 2016 they lost? 2017 they lost. Win, loss, win, loss.
Yeah, it's why we get that every year. We get people talking about whether or not Miami should have taken Herbert instead of Tua.
Well, that's always going to be a debate amongst Dolphins fans.
Yeah, it doesn't help though that they play them every year.
But the thing is, they haven't really done anything with Herbert either.
No, you're right. That's something we can talk about in another show about whether who would have been a better fit and where. But it's one of those things you can count on every NFL season is at what point do Dolphins fans start reminiscing on whether or not they should have taken Justin Herbert.
And when they play each other, their games, they're like kind of peaks and valleys. I mean, last year, Dolphins only beat them by 2 points,
Yeah.
36-34. And that's with the Chargers offense that runs the ball mostly, which is interesting. They put up 34 points against the Dolphins. And then the
Well,
Dolphins, they won against the Dolphins in 2022, 23-17. In 2020, they played them. They lost. It was 29-21. And then the Chargers blew them out in 2019, 30-10. So, I mean, historically, I mean, they're almost at a 500 between the two teams, but I just don't think the Dolphins have enough. Their questions are going to be on defense again.
oh, for sure. Their defense
And they're still trying to trade Ramsey.
Yeah.
Which, why are they trying to get rid of him so badly at this point?
Well, they got to shred off all the fat. They paid everybody on offense, so they got to get rid of those bolded contracts. Ramsey's an aged cornerback. He's not the same guy he used to be. He's being overpaid right now.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd want a leader of some sort, though, on that defense.
Yeah, now your pocketbook doesn't your budget doesn't help that.
Yeah.
They're right. They're right up against it with the cap. I mean, they're paying Tyreek Hill a fortune.
Which I thought they were going to trade Tyreek, but his contract's too big. I don't think I'm sure there's a team that would take him, but it's going to be a team he's going to want to go to. I know he's not just going to go to anywhere. And
There's a dual problem with Tyreek.
Yeah, I mean, there was rumors about them trading him to the Chiefs. That never happened. I just don't see who takes that contract space, but it's simply because of his off-field issues. Then you got to deal with him on the field and with the contract. I think it's a lot for a team to take on.
And I honestly, he declined. Oh, I mean, I get that quarterback situation sucked last year, but he declined a lot last year. He sucked last year.
He was playing hurt last year, though, too. Almost all season.
Yeah, but I mean that's not going to help him, right? And he obviously is he's another year older, another year slower. Like
Another kid heavier.
Yeah, right. Eventually, it catches up with you. Right, wide receivers can only go so long. He's got to be early 30s by now, right? Like 33, 34.
I think he's 30. Yeah, I don't think he's that old. I think he's like 31.
31.
Yeah, that's what I think. Let's see.
31.
Yeah, 31, right?
So I mean, you got a couple more years left before he like falls off a cliff. I mean, like once they get to like 34, 35, that's usually it for wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, especially with their type of offense. I mean, the thing with Tyreek is that he's been fairly durable. I mean, he doesn't take a lot of hard hits on the field, doesn't get injured. I mean, he gets an ankle injury here and there, which most receivers of his type of talent get occasionally. But he's been durable. But like I said, I think the off-field issues in the contract, I think it's a deterrent for a lot of teams to make that trade, especially what the Dolphins are going to probably ask for him.
Well, and once you get to a certain point, though, too, like Tyreek Hill is not, and the internet can come after me after this, but he's not the best route runner. Tyreek
No.
Hill I can run really fast in a straight line,
Yeah.
and like, so that eventually stops the older you get. Like, you can't eventually outrun these corners, like you see him going up against like, one of our young guys or something like that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and as he gets older, his speed is 100% going to decline. I mean, there's no way that he'll be the fastest player in the league again this year.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and they can't do too much to help their offense either with the amount of money they're spending already on their big three. So they put themselves into a corner.
Their
That's by
offensive
their own
line is
doing too.
horrendous. Their line is so bad. And
Yeah.
I don't think they put anything into their offensive line this year. I don't think they spent.
Yeah, I think their first round pick was offensive lineman this year.
Was it? I thought that was the Patriots.
No, I believe the Dolphins drafted a.
No, I thought the Dolphins took a D lineman.
I thought it was. Oh no, you're right. It was Grant. They took Grant before the Bills can get to
Yeah,
him.
it was one of the guys we wanted.
Yeah, they took Grant before we did.
They took a D tackle. They took a guard in the second round. But yeah, that's it. One offensive lineman
Yeah.
in the entire draft. I don't see it.
It's going to be a year of growing pains.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they've been going through year to year with growing pains.
Yeah, but especially on that defensive side,
they really need to figure out what they're going to do with Tua. I think I think you're gonna have to make a hard decision on Tua. You know what I mean? I don't think he's the answer. But they just paid him, right? Like,
I think so.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, so you're not walking away from that money that easily. Because
Yeah,
no one's taking on that contract.
No, once they paid him, he was locked. Nobody's trading for him. Not with the money that contract's worth. Nobody wants to tie themselves to that, especially with a quarterback that can't stay on the field.
Well, as morbid as it sounds, their only option might be when he gets hurt again.
Hey, listen, Zach Wilson's there, so take it easy.
Watch out.
That's where Zach Wilson ended up?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the savior of the Jets,
so we think maximum ceiling 10 wins again.
9. Max.
I mean, in my opinion, it's going to probably just be 8 in reality. 9 is their max.
Yeah, 9 is their max, most likely 8.
Okay. All right, then that takes us to the New York Football Jets. And yeah, I mean, they are going to be bad. They're going to be really bad. And like even going up and down, dude, even going up and down their schedule, even looking at the bad teams that they play, I don't know how many of these bad teams that they can beat.
Dude, they could potentially be 0-3 in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't see them having a game that they can win realistically until
week 7.
The Panthers game?
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you're going to keep them as a favorite in the game, it'd be the Panthers game.
They could beat the Panthers, the Browns.
The Cowboys, maybe.
They're not going to beat the Cowboys. Yeah. They could beat the Panthers, the Browns, and the Saints.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't think they can beat anybody else on their schedule.
You don't think they can beat
the Falcons at home, so we'll see how that goes.
We don't know what we're going to get out of the Falcons too, and we'll eventually look at the Falcons, and I kind of think the Falcons will probably win 7 games. The Falcons are they'll be one of those teams that'll win 6 or 7 games, maybe 8 games, and they'll they'll probably beat the Jets. I mean, the Falcons will be a favorite against the Jets.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the stats right now, the Jets have the 16th toughest schedule, I mean, either way you look at it, they're number 16 of all the teams in terms of scheduling, going from the easiest to the toughest. And the problem with them, they're picking only to get 5.5 from Vegas.
So other than that Panthers game and the Panthers game at home and the Browns game at home, is there any other game on the schedule that the Jets will be a favorite in?
I mean, we can't.
Maybe the Saints game.
That's on the road.
Yeah.
At home.
That's an adult too.
The Steelers game. I have a question for you guys. We still haven't been confirmed that Rodgers signed, right?
Not yet.
No, nothing's been confirmed.
Just because I think that storyline makes that week 1 game a lot more interesting as far as what could happen there between Fields and Rodgers both being on the opposite teams now. But you're right. I don't see another home game here. Like, I mean, the Broncos in London is technically a home game, but I feel like the Broncos are still going to be favored in that game.
The Broncos are going to kill them.
And yeah, I don't know that there's a game that there will be another game they'll be favored at home.
Yeah, I don't know if the Broncos are going to kill them. Again, it's a Europe trip, and I'll be honest with you, the Broncos' offense isn't that great. It's just
but the Broncos did light up some bad teams last year. Like there were a few games last year where the Broncos lit up bad teams, and the Jets are a bad team. So,
but the Jets still have a defense. That's what you can't forget.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
It's the same thing. The difference between the Jets and the Broncos is that the Broncos found a quarterback. That's the only difference.
But you know what?
The same team.
The Jets defense wasn't that great last year. The Jets got lit up a lot last year.
Yeah, I mean, but last year was an off year. But they didn't change much on that defense last year.
I'm going to say
I'm going to say the Jets have a rebound year with their defense. It's just their offense is going to have problems.
The problem was last year, Robert Saleh just lost that locker room.
But they got rid of him like in the middle of the season, didn't they?
But your season's derailed at that point, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers running your team into the ground.
Mm.
They had 12 games where they allowed more than 21 points to be scored against them. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't see it.
Well, I'm comparing how their defense against the teams they're going to play this year. And they're not playing a whole lot of killer offenses this year.
No, they're not playing a lot of. They're not. I'm like, I guess just my point overall is like they're going to be favorites in 3 games tops, and say they win all 3 of those. I look going up and down the schedule. There might be 1 or 2 more fluky wins in there, but that's like 5.
Yeah,
because I can't see them getting more than 5 wins. I can't.
Looking at the schedule, I think there's 4 high-powered offenses they play. They play us, they play the Ravens, they play the Bengals, and they play the Bucks.
Yeah. I mean, I think Miami will sweep them.
I don't know.
I know. Sean, go ahead. Give us your line, Sean. Give us your line.
It's a division game.
I still think Miami's going to sweep them. They're bad, dude. They're bad.
I mean,
Jacksonville's going to be better this year. Dallas is going to be. I mean, Jacksonville and Dallas are going to be better this year. Those 2 teams can't be much worse than they were last year. So those teams will be better. So yeah, I don't see it. I mean, unless some of these teams on the schedule like take a big step back, I don't see it. I don't see how the Jets can get more than 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Vegas has them at 5.5.
Yeah, I would probably take the under.
So who are their wins? Panthers, Saints, Falcons, maybe?
Browns.
Panthers, Browns. Yeah, maybe the Saints. Maybe they split with the Patriots.
You know what? And you know what else too? I mean, the Dolphins game is going to be a fluky one because you know how the Cowboys game against them. You know how the Cowboys go. They lose games like this to teams like the Jets.
That is true. You are absolutely right that the Cowboys do lose these kind of games. Actually, didn't the Cowboys lose every single away game last year?
I
Didn't
think
that
so.
happen?
I think you're right.
Like, or they went like 1-7 on the road
They
last
had a
year, or
really
something
bad road record. Yeah.
like something ridiculous last year. Yeah, I mean, Dallas has to be better this year. I'm very going to be very interested when we do our take on the NFC East a bit later, because I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about the Cowboys, but we can get into that another time. But yeah, 5 wins tops.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, minus a fluky one. I mean, I think 5 wins is their top for the season.
So I mean, given that,
I don't think
kind of
I don't think Fields changed much with their offense.
no, absolutely not. I mean, and then given that, I mean, getting into our I mean, if the Bills get to if the Bills get to 11, which I think should be very easy for the Bills to get to 11 wins, I think that easily wraps up the division.
Oh yeah,
Easily.
absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
could have the division wrapped up even earlier than last year.
I think the Bills will have the division wrapped up by Thanksgiving.
Mm,
That's roughly where they did it last year, right?
About 4 or 5 weeks ago, the Bills had the division wrapped up. I think by like that first game in December, the Bills will have the division wrapped up.
I can see it. It's possible, absolutely, with the teams they got to play up to that point. Because I mean, really, the Bills would have to. If you ask me, it's either the Texans game or the Steelers game is where they would be able to wrap up the division and kind of coast the rest of the season. One of those two games is going to wrap up the season.
Yeah, I mean it depends on what the 1 seed situation looks like, right?
Right,
Like
right.
if we're still in a race for the 1 seed, then I mean all bets are off and the Bills will still have to like play hard. But like if one team pulls massively ahead or the Bills drop some games they're not supposed to drop, then I don't know. But I still think I don't know. I think the floor for the Bills is 11 wins.
I
Like
agree with
I
that.
think I think if the Bills don't get to at least 11, I think it's a disappointing season. Looking at
Oh,
how easy
100%.
the schedule, the Bills have such an easy schedule. There's zero reason why the Bills shouldn't get to at least 11.
100%. This like we said in our actual Bills video. This is the season the Bills need to take advantage of the way they were scheduled.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
like I don't want to sound like Paul, but I mean, I think that they could get to 15. Like I really do. I could see the Bills getting into like 15-2. Like if they play the way they did last year and they put up 30 a game, like 9 games in a row, like they did, I'm hard pressed to see any other team other than maybe the Ravens and the Eagles beating the Bills.
yeah.
Like I think that's it. Like if the Bills can put up 30, they'll beat the Chiefs. And if the Bills can put up 30, they'll beat the Bengals. And then if they put up 30, they'll beat every other team on their schedule.
Mm. Well, I mean, this potentially has another season of the offense being a high-scoring offense in the league.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're not playing a whole lot of killer defenses at all this year.
No.
I mean, the only teams that defensively that'll probably give them a run is the Ravens. You're looking at possibly the Patriots in one of those games. You know, it goes with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Chiefs defense is pretty good too. You can't take that away from them. Bucks defense they're getting there. I wouldn't count them as a threat. Texans defense is going to be tough. Their secondary is really, really good.
I mean, yeah, but Baltimore and the Chiefs lit them up. Baltimore and the Chiefs lit up the Texans last year.
I mean, how many points did we score too to almost come back and win?
It was like 19-22 or something like
Was
that.
it?
Yeah, it was a relatively low scoring game, but like Kansas City lit them up in that postseason game. Like it was embarrassing. And Baltimore lit them up like 2 weeks before that because they needed that game. So I'm not worried about the Texans at all. I think the Bills are going to annihilate them. So
Yeah.
so I mean overall, guys, I mean, are any one of these three teams a threat to the Bills for the division this year?
No,
I don't think so.
no, no, no. I expect the Bills to, if not sweep the division, have just one loss in the division.
Probably
And
New England.
Yeah, probably a split with New England.
unless something
Or they
fluky
get some
happens.
stupid fluky game against the Dolphins. You know how that goes.
Yeah. Unless something fluky happens, the Bills should be 6-0 in the division. No
Mhm.
question about it.
All right, guys, any final thoughts?
No, I think the Bills should have this division wrapped up this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and barring no major setbacks. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to pick the way that the division is going to pan out, it's going to be the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can agree. The only thing that might flip flop, depending on whether or not Drake May takes a step forward, is the Dolphins and the Patriots flip flopping for second. But I think it's most likely going to be Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets as well.
I mean, I think the Patriots might be better than the Dolphins, but we'll see. So that's our video, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. And we're gonna have some more content coming out for you this week. We got a lot of wrestling stuff coming out. There's 3 pay-per-views next weekend, so we'll have our predictions for you, and we'll have some more NFL content for you guys coming up real soon too. So with that, I've been Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. T. Reese and Mr. Sean O'Neill. Guys, have a great evening. Thank you very much, and take care.